The game I'm looking at today is Navigator. It is a 2 to 5 player game that plays in probably about an hour to an hour and a half. Now, the thing that made me flock to this game right away is I'd heard a number of comments that even though this is a 5-player game, it apparently had played really well as a 2-player game. Now, the other thing about this is it is a trading in the Mediterranean game, and I know there are certain prominent reviewers out there who sort of despise that sort of theme, but I'm pretty new to the gaming hobby, about 2 years in now, and when I see one of those titles drift by me, I've got to pick it up. Also, this game features a mechanic called the rondel mechanic, which I'd never actually used before, so all these things together made me want to pick it up. This is the starting setup for Navigador. Players get their own player boards, they also get some money, they have some ships already put into the ocean, and they also have workers which are indicated by these little guys, and they just slide up and down this track. The goal of this game, like any Euro, is to get the most points by the end of the game. The primary way that we do this is we use this board to track the amount of achievements that we're going to get and how much they're going to be multiplied by. The way this chart works is it shows you that you get achievements for colonies, factories, navigation, shipyards, and churches. Throughout the game, players are going to have the opportunity to buy additional shipyards or additional factories. They can also get a hold of privileges, which add as bonuses to these achievements. So the way this works is you look at each of the 5 things that you have, and you multiply based on that. So if at the end of the game I have 2 shipyards, I look at the shipyard column, and see that I have a 5. So I go 2 times 5, that's 10. Now, how do you play? For those of you who've never seen this doohickey before, this is called a rondel. And the way this works is throughout the game, each player has their turn marker set out. And let's say it's the yellow player's turn. He has the option of moving to any of the next 3 spaces for free, and that will be their action for the turn. Then in future turns, they have access to the next 3, and so on. The only extra trick to this rondel is you can burn a ship from the board to grant you 1 extra space per ship. The driving force to getting these special multipliers, which help you get scoring at the end of the game, is to get as much money as possible. And the way you do this is through a number of actions. One of them is through sailing through all these regions, and when you explore a new region, you get to reveal the colony tokens there and get a bonus. Later on, when the colonies are revealed, you can actually go there and buy colonies to have them produce resources for you. You can also buy factories which process resources, and this is one of the interesting mechanics of the game where those 2 factors move this market track to allow you to profit off of supply and demand. So to start off, I'm going to make yellow the start player, and he gets to choose any one of these spaces on here. So one of the typical starting actions is sailing. Sailing at the beginning of the game allows you to move 1 space for each ship that you have. So I could have these 2 ships each move 1 space into this new region. Exploring a new region is dangerous, and when you do that, you lose a ship, like so. But the bonus is you get a navigation achievement, which goes onto your board. The additional bonus for exploring is you reveal the colony tiles that are available. These represent the price that you would have to pay to, in this case, buy a gold colony. The exploration bonus is the lowest valued one, which is 90, so that this player gets 90 coins right now. And now it's Blue's turn. At the beginning of the game, whoever is the last in player order, he gets to take this special Navegador tile, which allows him to have a free sailing action at some point during the game, but you only keep it for 1 travel around the rondel. So if Blue goes here and chooses the sailing action, we'll just mark with this orange ship that this is where he started his trek around the circle, and he has to use it before getting back to it. So right now he's just going to use the sailing action which he landed on, and we'll just have him move both his ships right here, and that's the end of his turn. It's now Yellow's turn, and I'm going to have him move over to the colony space, which is only 3 spaces away, so it's legal. 1, 2, 3. Now the colony action allows you to buy any revealed colonies that you have a ship at, and that you also have 2 workers at your disposal. I can see that I have 2 workers because Yellow's token is here, and it says that I'm on 3 worker space. And I also have a ship on the coast of Guinea. The neat thing about this game is, in general, when you use workers, you don't lose them. So to take this action, I'm going to take the cheapest colony, which costs 90. I'm going to pay out of yellow's cash pool, and that's the end of that turn. For blue, I'm going to have him now take this free sailing action. So I'm going to give it to the next player counterclockwise to me. In a 2-player game, that's just the other player. And he'll now take the sailing action. So move each of his ships 1 space. I'll just move them both here. It's a new area, so I get an exploration achievement. I lose a ship, display the colonies, and then get money for the cheapest one, which is 50. Now, because I lost my bonus move, I now mark where yellow got it, which is right here. Yellow would now like to buy some ships. So I'll move him to the ship space. And the way buying ships work is, for each shipyard that you own, you can buy as many ships as shipyards for 50 coins each. Now, if you want to buy any additional beyond the shipyards that you have to look at the charts on the board to see which phase you're in and how much you have to pay. In phase 1, extra ships and also extra workers cost 100 each. And I should also mention now that ship movement is limited to that 1 space per ship that I mentioned. In phase 2, extra ships and workers cost 200 each, and ships may move 2 spaces each. And in phase 3, every extra ship or worker would cost 300, and ships may move 3 spaces each. Since I just mentioned the 3 phases of the game, I'll just point out right now, when ships travel around the ocean, there's blue borders between each of the sections. But when a ship hits one of these red sections, it triggers the next round. Anyways, back to the current turn. So yellow says he wants to buy a ship. He's just going to use this 1 shipyard, which costs 50 coins. And what this does is it allows him to place a ship in Portugal. Now, all ships always begin at Portugal. Blue's now going to make his move, and he's going to take the worker action, which is essentially the identical thing, except this one relies on churches instead of shipyards. So, like before, for every church that this player owns, he gets to buy as many workers as he wants for 50 coins, and any additional will cost 100 or 200 in phase 2, 300 in phase 3. So he'll buy just 1 worker, and he'll move his worker up 1 on the worker track. So now he has 4 workers. I'm now going to have yellow take a buildings action. So he's going to hop over to here. And a buildings action allows you to buy as many buildings as you would like for the costs pointed out. Yellow only has access to 3 workers, so he only has access to these 3 types of factories here. These being sugar factories, gold, and spice. Given that he only has 3 workers, he can only buy one once, so he could buy this spice factory for 50 coins. Had he had 5 workers, he could have bought a church if he wanted to. Or let's say that he actually had 6 workers, he could have bought 2 of these factories here. Yellow places the factory on his board, pays his 50, and that's his turn. Now I'll have blue take the privilege action. So he's going to jump over here, and the privilege action allows you to take one of these tiles up here, which acts as the multipliers for your endgame scoring. This action has one big detriment. This is the only action during the game where you actually lose workers. So by me going here and choosing one of these things, I'll take this navigation one, he loses 1 worker. The nice bonus though is when you add a tile to your board, there's a coin depicted here. So in this case it's a 40. So by me putting this on the board, I immediately get 40 coins. The only other action I haven't covered yet is the market. So I'm going to have yellow hop over to the market. I'm going to hypothetically fast forward to the game just so I can give you a really solid market example. As you progress through the game, you're going to be purchasing colonies. These produce sugar, gold, and spices. And you're also going to be buying factories which process sugar, gold, and spices. And you also started the game with this 1 orange factory, which can be used as a wild card. So if I chose, I could add this to my sugar so that I'd have 4 sugar factories. Here is the handy dandy market tracker. What this does is it shows you how much money you will make if you sell goods from colonies through here, or if you process goods at your factories through here. Using the examples that I had, I'm going to use my my 4 sugar factories, and I'm going to produce. So I look at the factory track here, and it says 30 coins, and I move it up 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I get 4 times 30 is 120 coins. I'm now going to use my gold colonies. I have 2 of them, and I'm going to use them to push the demand up. So 60 is where I started at, and I move it down 2. So I end up getting 60 times 2, so I get another 120 coins. And I'm also going to use my spice colony to drive the market up. And so I will go 70 and push this down 1, so I get 70 coins. To bring this to a close, I'm just going to skip to the very end of the game. There's actually 2 ending conditions. One is when all these buildings get drained out, then everyone gets 1 last turn. And the other one is when someone explores the final sea space of Nagasaki, then everyone, again, only gets 1 final turn. Now, the special thing about the Nagasaki space, and in a 2-player game, it would be also the Macau space too, is it costs you 2 ships to enter the zone as opposed to 1. So by me taking the sailing action and going in here, I will immediately lose both ships. I still take the exploration achievement, still get the colony bonus, 170 coins, but now everyone gets 1 final turn. Here I'll quickly summarize endgame scoring. One thing I need to mention is every player has one of these pink tokens to use, which they can apply to any one of these multipliers. So you just simply pick which will benefit you the most. I'll just throw it here just for the fun of it. And then you just do all the math. So for colonies, I go 3 times 9, that's 27. Factories, I go 2 times 4, which is 8. Navigation, I get 5 times 5 is 25. Shipyards is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 3 is 21. And churches is 3 times 2, which is 6. Then I also get 1 point per ship that's on the board. I get 1 point per worker that I own, and I also get 1 point per 200 coins that I have. So that explanation was a little bumpy. There's a lot of intermingling concepts, which it's hard to really organize what you want to display at what point. So the first playthrough is a little difficult to explain. But the thing is, once you've gotten through a complete game, the game is just so straightforward, so streamlined that it's very intuitive what you're doing. I really like this game, and there's a couple things. I think the main thing about it is that rondel mechanic. It leads to really fast turns. It's like you have 3 options in front of you most of the time for what you want to do on your turn. You take it, next player's turn. That there's so many Euro games where like you're sitting there just waiting for your turn to come, and it just feels like it never does. And this one is quite the opposite. It's like I'll take my turn, I'll turn my head away for what seems like 30 seconds, and it's already my turn again, and I'm holding up the game because it's already my turn and I'm not paying attention. So that's quite a thing in this whole Euro style game thingies that I've been playing recently. Another thing that I really like is that the 2-player game is solid. It is a very different experience than in the 4-player game. That's for sure. In the 2-player game, you can pretty much do every single thing that you want to. It's just who can do it more efficient. In a 4-player game, it's a lot more cutthroat. There's a lot more manipulation of the market, and things cost a lot more. It's just money's tight, and it's a constant struggle. A good struggle. I really like it. I can't really think of any cons for this game. It's like the perfect package. There's tons of different paths that you can take for victory, and it's fast. I mean, yeah, the game takes around an hour and a half, but turn by turn, it's really quick. There isn't a lot of stagnation or sitting around time. So super high marks for this one. I really enjoy it. I can't wait to play it more. I definitely recommend it. Rio Grande Games, yeah, I've always known them as good game producers, and they didn't disappoint me here.